Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Devi Jade. I am a divine channeler, which means that I've been given gifts and graces so that I can receive messages from our deities, the angels and guides that will help us in our life walk and our life journey. I come to you every couple of weeks. I always preface this at the beginning because some of you will be new and others, of course, have seen me many, many times, and I absolutely thank you for that. Happy New Year to you. I hope all is well. This time, what we're going to be speaking about is the full moon, which will be here tomorrow, and also the fact that it is being affected by the Mercury retrograde. So the full moon is in Cancer. It's very, very watery. It's very emotional. Our little crab likes to hide himself in his little shell. He doesn't really like to come out. My son is a Cancer, and boy, his behavior is like a Cancer. He would rather stay in his little tiny place with his the way that he likes things because they like things the same. It makes them feel very secure. Very kind, very sweet, but super sensitive, whether it's psychically or empathetic, empathic. They're very sensitive to others. So this is what you're going to be feeling in this full moon. Okay. And as it wanes down, encourage yourself that what came up, sensitivity, whether it's, oh my gosh, I heard something that affected me a little bit too much. Know that it's coupled with our Mercury retrograde, which started on the 20th of December, and it will go to the 18th of January. It's not in its peak yet, so that's good. But it is affecting us, and of course that's with miscommunications and things going wrong. Seems to be a lot of mechanical things again with cars and such, and of course all the weather is exactly what it should be because Mother Earth does need to take care of herself. I would say that the channeling that I've received for you is about speaking kindly to ourselves and really watching our patterns, because things are going to come up for those of you that are starting on your spiritual journey. Everything will be right there in front of you and you won't be able to miss it. Those of you that have been on your journey for some time, it'll be a little subtler. And for those of us that have been on our journey for a long, long time, it'll be very, very subtle. We've got to pick up those patterns and notice, oh my gosh, if it triggers you, it's your trigger. It is your issue to take a look at, even if it's subtle. There's a lot of jealousies that are going to come up, very subtle jealousies, a lot of narcissism and things like this. Why? Because at the beginning of this year, and it's very, very quiet, it's an opportunity to let it melt with the snow or let it rain and let it go into Mother Earth. It's good that all this weather is occurring, even though it seems terrible, because we're out and about in cars and we have to go to jobs. But once upon a time when they would have all these things that are happening, we would just hunker down into our homes, light the fire, stay quiet. And even as Indigenous people, which I carry the Native American peace pipe for the Lakota Sioux, very quiet, the time for winter stories, the time to teach and receive the wisdom of the elders. So having said that, this again is your message. It's be kind to yourself. There was a story of mine that occurred yesterday, and I'll see if I can cliff note it because I actually recorded and I thought maybe that's a bit too long. I do a lot of workouts in the weight room. I like free weights. I've liked them for a very, very long time. And I do what's called supersets. Now, those of you that do a lot of bodybuilding, you'll understand what that is. But for those of you that don't, you'll do 2 or 3 exercises and you'll build on each other, or you'll do what's called negatives and you'll do strong, and then the weights will go down. But needless to say, I had these weights around me on this bench, and then I had actually another bench where I do negative sit-ups and also some chest work that I was doing. During the first of the year, it's always extremely busy and a lot of the weights were gone, but I had some of the lower weights that none of them were too heavy. When I'm doing shoulders and that, they're a little bit lighter. And there was a gentleman, I noticed he was watching me, and everybody watches each other in the gym, so I didn't think anything of it. But then he came up to the bench and just decided to pick up the weights without even saying anything to me. He didn't say, hey, are you using these weights? When will you be done with them? That's the courtesy of the gym. I've been going to the gym since I was about 24 years old. So I don't know anything different other than that. That's just the way it goes. But he just decided he was going to take them. And so I went up and I said, I'm still using those weights. And he said, no, you can't have this many. You can't have these weights. Lady, you can't have them. You don't need them. And I'll give them back to you. Well, I don't know exactly what that means, because when you're in the gym, those weights could go down the road and you have to wait. And I was in the middle of this training piece. And so I said to him, I've never had ever in all the time that I've been in the weight room, anybody come up and just take weights off of me and say that. And he said, well, you can't have weights like that. You have too many. And I'll give them back to you. He said it again, and I didn't trust it. So I said to him again, I said, if I was a guy, you would have never done that. Now, that was me with my subtle trigger. Okay. And he didn't care. He just said, I told you, I'll get him back to you. Now he stood beside me to do whatever he was doing. Okay. And of course that was a little bit of a trigger. Like, look I'm going to stand here and I'm going to show you that I can do what I want. And I heard a voice in my head say, is that really how you're going to treat this person? On a spiritual walk, what is it? If somebody does this on one cheek, you turn the other. If somebody says something unkind, you return it with a kindness. It came that fast. So I went up to him and I said, I wish you would have at least just asked me. He said, I was asking you. And of course, the way that he said it, he wasn't asking me, he told me. And I said, well, I have these other weights. It would be interesting for you. It would have been better for me, if you would have asked. And also imagine that what you're doing by taking them off of me in this gym is telling the guys around there that they can just walk up and take things off of women. And I knew that to be so because people were watching. At this point, it wasn't big, but you could see the little side eyes going, and because it's just not done what he did. And then he said, well, I get it. I said, you and I were in here, we can be friends. And he said, yeah, I'll return them to you. I will. I said, okay. And so I reached out, even though it was something that occurred to me, let's say. After that, I saw another set of weights, exact size and weight that he needed. They had been returned to the rack. So I picked those up and I took them to him, and he said, oh, you're finished with this, with these? And I said, no. I said, this is another set that I've got for you. And he said, oh. I think he was really surprised. So the thought was going in my head, even though I finished my workout, but in the back of my mind, it was still there. So I went in the other part of the weight area. This is a pretty big gym. And I went in the other part to finish my triceps. And I was doing what I can to just kind of let go and just let go and just let go, because there was a tiny bit of a trigger left there. And this young lady said to me, she said, oh, you look like you're having fun. I said, I am, thank you. She said, you're doing really good. I said, thank you. And of course I returned the compliment because they were having a good time too. And then she popped this little card out and she handed it to me, and it said exactly what I needed to hear. It said, what you've done has been a very good thing and you're very kind. Continue your kindness. And I looked at her and I said, thank you so much. You have no idea. This is an answer from an angel, from my angels, and you just gifted it to me. Now, She randomly picked me out of everybody. Maybe she had a few others, but she did it at the precise divine timing that I really needed that. Because even when we're on a high spiritual walk, there's going to be moments when we have little things like that that occur. I have the card. I will always save it. I told her I would. Because it said to me, here's something for you, Devi. You need to know that what you did was okay and you can let go of it. That's a kind of thing that's going to occur during this full moon, and as it wanes and it pushes away the emotional triggers that we have, because that's what it's doing in the waning of the moon. Even if it comes up against this side, which is the Mercury retrograde, as I keep getting those patterns that come to me, I'll know that something bigger is going to be revealed to me. It wasn't even 5 or 7 minutes after I left that one gym room to the next that happened. Almost instantaneous. So my heart was full, and I switched it because I was willing to do a couple things that were maybe a little bit out of the box because of the etiquette of the gym. I'm never rude. I'm always very kind. I share, I do all the etiquette there. But the fact that occurred, and I thought about that gentleman on the way home, and I thought, something must be really bothering him in his life, that he felt like he had to take that kind of action. And so I had compassion, because as I left the gym, I saw him, and he was all by himself. Now, mind you, guys will go by themselves, but typically in the gym, a lot of times guys will have somebody they work out with. He was an older gentleman too. I would say probably, in his later 40s and maybe up to 50. And so maybe there was something there that he felt that he had to do, but he reached actually to the right person, even though I didn't know I was it, and I certainly didn't feel that at the moment. All of this worked in divine course. It's a little bit of a lengthier message, because I'm not going to ask you all this year to light this color candle and that color candle. I've thought a lot about it. And the guidance for the candles is get a beautiful white pillar candle. And then when you put the olive oil on that candle, go from the wick to the base. Put the oil on there, the wick to the base, 3 times. And ask that your guardian angels and the holy angels, meaning Michael and Raphael, will be with you to guide you. And then take that and roll it in cinnamon. That cinnamon is a bit hot. It helps things to come to you in a good way. It's fragrant, and it quickens the pace. And then use that candle. And as you get down to the lower bit of the candle, because it's a pillar, get another and prepare that one. And take the last of that light with a match, another match, or a little stick or whatever you have, and take the last of that light and light it to the next one after you've dedicated it. So what we will be having is an eternal candle the whole year. Because everything that you've prayed onto that candle is going to go to the next candle, and the next candle, and the next candle. So much like generational things that we let go of and we increase, that's the way this candle is going to be. When you're finished with that particular pillar candle, the first one, what you'll do is you'll roll it. You'll wrap it and roll it away from you, okay, into some nice tissue. And then you'll put it, hopefully, in the nicest trashes. I usually wait till I have a little bit more of the organic type of trash, meaning, vegetables or whatever. And I'll put it in there, and I'll thank that candle for bringing that light. Okay. So that's my message, and that's the candle work. That's for those of you that I can't find this color, I can't find that color. I don't want that to be an issue this year. I want everything to be very simple for you. We can do all of these little tiny things, these details, and those work, but it's really about connecting with the light. Your light with their light with your light. Not in any particular order. Remember, when you do put it out, if you don't burn it, to just snuff it out. Never blow a candle out. It blows the energy away. You can relight it, but just make sure that you snuff it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And I thank you for all your time. Have a very happy full moon. Blessings to you. And again, Happy New Year. And I'll be talking about Chinese New Year shortly. So I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.